Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Community Preservation Act Committee. It's Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. And although we have a large agenda here, I'm going to start immediately with the projects because I know I want to thank you all for coming, and I'd like to do that first and then get on to the other business after we have the chance to listen to you. So we're going to start after I did ask people their thoughts on their timing issues, and given the response, I'm going to ask for the one on the dendrochronology project to come up first. And if you'd like to, you can there, or if you're more comfortable at the table and sitting at the chair, that's up to you.
I do.
Yeah, make sure everybody, does everybody have their things on, please? Green lights.
Yeah. Thank you for pronouncing that for me, Mary. I'm not gonna even. So.
Can we call it something else? Key ring, yeah, right. Tree rings.
In the body of the proposal, you see that we lost our miller. Our miller retired. So we don't have a miller after we had two millers, since we started staffing the windmill. So in lieu of that, we're trying to compile as much historical information as we possibly can to have on display in the windmill when people visit, because we won't have anybody that's really knowledgeable enough to explain everything. We'll probably only be opening it up with a part-time employee. So throughout the summer, we've been conducting meetings with the public. We've invited them to the library every other week to speak with the former miller and compile this information. We came up with some interesting. Somebody gave us a film from 1933 of the windmill actually in operation. A miller in there actually operating the windmill. So we're going to try to get it digitalized and put it on display in the windmill. So the purpose of this whole thing is really to gather some more information. We like to try to establish the actual age of the windmill. So we want to contract to get a professional to come in, take some borings and give us a report on what they feel the actual age of the windmill is. And this is just be another component of the information that we'll have available to people visiting when they stop and visit the windmill. So we're asking for $2,750. If you look at his bid, I think the high end is $2,200, or we added like $2,250. We added $500 onto that just in case, but he doesn't feel that's going to come anywhere near that. He thinks he could do it in one visit. He's coming from Vermont. That's why you see in his proposal, he has asked for some mileage, and he expressed to us if he has to come down more than one time, he would like to be paid mileage. So that's kind of why we put a little extra money in it too. But he doesn't think he needs to come more than once to take the borings and go back and examine them and coming back with a report for us on how the age of the windmill.
Where did you even come up with this study?
Where did we come up with
How
this
did
study?
how did you even hear about it?
Actually, Chris in the rec department kind of reached out to a few people, historians, and they think that the windmill has some real historical. It could be, could be one of the oldest windmills around. So I think we kind of want to just, for our own sake, if we can compile a little more information, it'll add, to the enhancement of the windmill.
Likely that has been repaired over time.
Put your thing on, please.
Isn't it likely that it's been repaired over the centuries? or-
It probably has, but I'm sure he knows where he needs to take the borings from.
Mhm.
I actually was in there this morning decorating for, light the night, on Saturday night evening. It's pretty old and rickety. Getting up to that second, floor is, is a process.
Would you actually display the borings after he's done his stuff?
Geez, I'm not sure, Dave, but we probably could, yeah.
I just would think it might be interesting, that's all.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
would think
Yeah.
you could, yeah.
yeah, putting it kind of create a little thing with, with all the information and the actual warrants. I'll make sure we do
Mhm.
that.
Maybe up the dollar amount to create a box.
I'm- we're pretty confident that there's plenty of money in the dollar
Mhm.
amount to cover everything.
So how would you, I think your idea is a good one. How would you display the information? Would you have to put together some sort of signage?
Yeah, we'll have to, I think Dave's he's got a good point. If we put a box together, maybe with the borings and then an explanation in
Mhm.
the box, explaining, the whole process and how old they think the windmill is.
Mhm.
You have to check on that because his proposal says the samples will be retained at historic Deerfield.
Mm.
Well, we'll talk with the the person and,
I think even if the samples aren't there, a study board should be given.
Yeah.
Reporting the results of the facts of what they found, so that when people walk in, they'll know that at least it happened.
Yeah.
Because if he takes the samples and you don't put any kind of signboard, nobody knows.
no,
that
I'm
you
sure
ever
there'll
did
be
this.
signage,
Yeah.
referring to it, yeah.
Good.
Are there any questions? We have several people zooming today. We have Janet and we have, I'm sorry, not Janet. We have Eileen, Joanna and, oh, Tina's up there. Yep,
Good.
thanks. Any questions from either Joanna or Tina? Any other question?
The only other thing I like to add is, although it predominantly is an historic preservation kind of application, because the Recreation Commission is asking for it, we'd like to pay for it out of our portion of the funds and not the historic preservation funds.
I'm sorry, you're good at, not from the historic preservation, but from what?
From the
Correct.
recreation.
Of recreation?
Yeah.
Versus the historic preservation.
Correct.
Any other questions from the committee?
I think it's a good project. The Historic District Commission's in favor of it and a lot of other people. I think it's really a fine, good part of history.
Mhm, mhm.
Well worth doing.
Have you spoken to any other town that has had this done?
No, I don't believe
So
that.
how did you find this gentleman?
Chris did the research,
Oh, okay.
and came up with it.
Mm. Any other questions from the committee? Do I have a motion to approve the dendrochronology study for $2,750?
So moved.
That's Dan is first. Mark is second. Any other discussion? All in favor of the proposal? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Joanna, 7. Thank you. 7-0.
Yep.
And that is 12-3-25.
As always, thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to go looking at the agenda and I'm going to start from the top since we did the bottom. And we'll start with Linda, if you want to come up, Linda.
Well, I actually brought some props that you guys can pass around or look at. This is what was in my office when I took office, was 2 filing cabinets full of file folders. And each of these file folders has maps of roads. This whole one is Bridge Road. And they're in various states of repair. Some of them are empty. Right, exactly. So then I started looking through them and I'm like, well, what's being done with these projects? So some are in pretty good shape, but then some others are not. Some have tears in them, they have stains. So I started asking questions about, well, you know, what is my role as far as the keeper of the records of roads? And according to Mass General Law, the town clerk must maintain an official book of roads documenting the public and private ways. And that's Mass General Law, Chapter 82, Section 32. So I have approximately 8 boxes of historical maps and documents. And these fragile records we would like to digitize these to create a searchable, secure, and accessible digital archive. So the long-term goal is to provide permanent public and staff access. So how does this align with East Thames comprehensive plan? So it supports goal number 6, the modernization and accessibility of public records. It aligns with hazard mitigation plan, low-lying roads assessments, stormwater and complete streets plans, wastewater. It enhances transparency, resiliency, and interdepartmental coordination. Paul, I do have this on a PowerPoint if you want to click through for me, that'd be great. I think I'm on the 3rd or 4th slide by now. So the community impact is it would benefit the residents by clarifying road ownership, public versus private. And I would ask the people sitting in this room, do you know if you live on a public or a private road? I think most people do, but some people who are moving into town don't understand what that means, especially if they've lived in a bigger city. They don't understand what a public or a private road is. The people that live on them do. So it would improve emergency access and planning and assist the town departments in planning, zoning, and infrastructure management. So it would also support grant application, interdepartmental collaboration. So there's several phases. We'd have to prepare and select a vendor. I have gotten 3 vendors who have given me quotes. I only have one that I put in your packet because that's all that I had available when the thing was due, but I've gotten 2 more since, and they came in lower, which is good news. And so today is the CPAC presentation. Thank you all for listening, by the way. And phase 2 would be the how are we going to figure out how to get this all in a metadata? So I spoke a lot with Melanie over at the library, and she said that's not as difficult as it sounds. So we already have an idea of how to produce, we can do it as simply as saying, okay, in numerical order. So we have Aspinett Road and Bridge Road and all of that, and we can have it in sections, or we can get even more detailed and do it by map and plan and all of that. But either way, it should be searchable in a lot of different areas. So once we get to phase 3, we could test it and then figure out whether we host the data or we have it hosted by an outside company. Ideally, we would host it because it's cheaper and then we can add data to it. We can still go for grants. Right now, because of the current administration, there are no grants to be had for this type of archival work. I checked. But that's not to say that grants won't be available in the future. So that could substantially reduce the total project cost. So I did say the detailed budget would be following the vendor proposals. And the cost factors are the document condition, resolution, and storage. There's one company called CoFile, which I really liked. I looked at their product and I looked at other town clerks' recommendations, and they said that they are, you know, the best. They're very detailed, but they're on the top of the line as far as cost goes. There are other vendors out there that will do it for less money. You also have to factor in shipping. Some of the vendors will pick up the products. Some of us, we would have to ship. There's one that's in, I believe, West Bridgewater, and they said that they have a van that they would insure. They'd have a, you know, chain of custody. They have insurance. Everything would be, you know. So that one I kind of liked a lot. So I estimated the cost at 30,000. Once everything is done, it would be managed jointly by the town clerk and the town planner. And I would assume that, yeah, thanks, Paul. I would assume that also assessing would be involved in this, police, fire, you know, anybody who has to be involved with when it comes to DPW building a new road. I mean, when it comes right down to it, we have to understand that, you know, there will be new roads built in the future. So when we put a new road in place, it usually has to be, you know, assigned and built and planned for, and then it has to be voted on at town meeting. So there's a lot of steps, but the town clerk is typically involved in these steps in addition to the town planner. So that, you know, it all should be seamless, but it's not now. So I'll give you an example. When I was looking through the assessment database for Nauset Light Road, in our own database, it's spelled 3 different ways. I went onto Google to try to find a map. I just Googled, okay, I want a map of the roads in Eastham. So I made a copy for everybody to see if I could find my street where I lived. It's not on there. But there are,
That's the Google map.
yeah, yeah. That's the first one that comes up. So if I'm a tourist and I'm like, oh, I want a street map of Eastham, this is what I get. My street's not there. As a lot of private roads are not there. Nauset Light Beach Road is is not there. Because it was built that long ago. But if you try to put your GPS in to find Nauset Light, it may lead you down that road into somebody's private driveway. And we have had people call my office and say, can you guys straighten this out with Google? Because people are ending up in my driveway and they want to take pictures of the Nauset Light and they're crossing in my backyard. Like, we're sorry. We'll try to fix that. So, you know, in the end, it's all about, right now, the records are verified through the town and the Barnstable County archives. We get that, but not everybody has access to the Barnstable County archives. I don't. So we're not looking to alter any legal designations. This is for reference only, but it would include the Cape Cod National Seashore Access Road data because that's important. People need to know how to drive to go to look at the Nauset Light. They shouldn't be driving on somebody's driveway to go see it or crossing through their backyard. And things are going to change. I mean, we're going to lose some of the seashore over time due to global warming. It's just a fact. So in summary, I believe that digitization preserves Eastham's infrastructure history. It enhances access, transparency, and efficiency. It strengthens the town's service delivery and operational excellence. And collaborating effort ensures permanent public resource. This is a long-term project. I do not expect that this is going to take, 1 or 2 years. This is a very long project, and it's a project that should start. These files shouldn't have been sitting in the drawer for the last 10 years. Maybe longer. I don't really know. But when I look at something like this, I cannot read a word on it. It's all faded. This is something that would have to go to somebody who specializes in this type of book and be able to
Pull it out.
pull it out and recreate it. Luckily, most of the records don't look like this. But when you flip a page, you see there's like notes inside. And I don't know what that's all about.
How old is that book, do you think?
It says from 1965.
It's not even that old. Wow.
Not even that old, exactly. It's just not been stored properly. That's the point. Now, my office in particular, these books are not directly in my office, but my office has been flooded by rainstorms for the past 6 months. The ceiling tiles have come down and it's leaking onto the printers, the bookshelves, all kinds of stuff. So we've had to move stuff out of my office into other areas. I would hate to see anything like that happen to these files, but I don't know. And we all know about the flood that happened in 2018, where we had to move all of our books out of the main vault and have them demolded, have them go back out, have them demolded again, and then have them preserved at the cost.
In the vault?
And we had to borrow money from the library fund to do it because we had none. So they are now in a secure area. They are searchable. You can go online 24/7 and look up to see if your ancestors came over on the Mayflower, but you can't look at these records. It's very difficult. And, it was pointed out to me that I should be the keeper of the roads. Well, I'm not doing a very good job if I'm keeping them like this.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking for a better system and digitizing these records is the way to go. Some of these are folded up 18 times. That's not right. So that's.
So
my
I have a
bit.
question. You said that you had received, since you submitted your request, some other bids.
Good.
What is the information on that, please?
I have, I'll pass this around too. So Inception Technologies. This just came in this morning. I just got a hold of these people and they gave me a quote of $7,398.50. They did have some one-time fees and some monthly fees depending on whether we want to put the information in a cloud service, but that's optional. So that's a decision that can be made later on. But they did say they would have to take a look at what we have, and depending on the condition of all of the
Documents.
some documents can be fed through a shredder, but some have to be spread out and not a shredder, sorry, a scanner.
Scanner.
That's one way to take care of it.
Right. So, no, they,
I think they do that down at, in the center of town down in Orleans. We could just take care of the whole thing and
yeah,
just
no,
take it
no,
down there.
we don't want to do that. So when we went to the Boston Public Library, Melanie and I got a tour, and this was great because it was right in the middle of COVID. They let us put masks on and we had a tour. They open up these books on cradles and they have these big overhead cameras and take a picture, and then they have gloves on and they flip the page and they click a button and it takes another page. And it's just amazing what they do. They
Mhm.
have large scale scanners, they have smaller scanners. So I'm still trying to go for the Boston Public Library because they're very, very good at what they do. They're just very, very busy right now. So, I'm holding my breath for them. I also have this other company, Crowley, I think. Did I put Crowley in your
Yes.
books? Okay, so Crowley was looking at 13,125. Profile was the one that was on the high end for about 30,000. I mean, that's, if we want to do it top the line, that would be what they would be going for.
And
So-
if I may ask, the vendors that you've spoken to, when there's maps where the lines are faded, are they able to somehow bring them out?
Not really.
Ah,
Yeah.
they have to deal with what they've got.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. You're gonna get what we have pretty much.
I'm going to comment because we had a similar request for digitization for a number of years ago. And if you look at the rules and regulations for CPA monies, the monies for preservation are involved with with the preservation of documents themselves. And the CPA monies can't be used to digitize and then ruin the documents that you're talking about trying to digitize. So what I would recommend is that you try to get a request for the cost of preserving the documents, because I don't feel that CPA monies can be used in this case for the cost of just the digitization of the materials.
But if there isn't any way to preserve them, like, I don't know where we would have space. So if you have, say, a map like this and you were able to like encase it in plastic, where would we put that?
Well, you'd have to have archival boxes to put them in. And that's what the library bought a while back for the materials, the documentation that they have there.
Okay. Are they big or are they book size?
I've just seen them from the front, so I think they're different sizes.
Yeah, yeah.
There are sizes for maps.
Mhm,
Okay.
yeah, they're different sizes depending upon the document's size themselves.
Okay, well, we could look at that. But how would you add records in the future? How would this be available for people to add data for the future?
You're talking about change,
That wouldn't be. I mean, unless there's funding in the libraries.
you'd have to do what you need to do to preserve them in order to then, if you wanted to digitize after the fact, then you could digitize after the fact, but they would have to be preserved first.
That seems like
Can you
overkill.
digitize and preserve them at the same time with that?
Because they're talking about cutting them up
Oh,
in the
no.
process.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Okay, keep the original.
No, what they're talking about is scanning the
scanning.
documents. There's a couple of areas of concern here. I think Mary's right. I don't think we're necessarily allowed to approve funds for digitizing. We're allowed to approve funds for preservation.
Okay.
And to digitize something isn't preservation of the document itself. So what we're talking about is the document itself.
Right.
Right.
If you want to digitize it, that's great, but it doesn't preserve the document.
Okay.
The document is going to continue to deteriorate or whatever it does,
Right.
whether you digitize it or not.
Right.
So therefore, I think I agree that this doesn't qualify. digitizing a document doesn't qualify as preserving the document.
How do,
Am I-
how do you, how do you define preserving the document though?
Well, for example, we have given money
Mhm.
to preserve documents, and where do we do that? In a safe.
I
We paid for a vault
Mhm.
for the preservation of the document. In other words, the document is now in a safe. So therefore, as best as it can, it's out of the elements, it's out of humidity, it's out of all the things that could deteriorate it as best we can. And the actual document is being preserved in the safe.
And I understand that, but the process of digitizing it, in fact, preserves the document in its current state and prevents it from deteriorating any further, which you can't guarantee in even the best archival situation. There's gonna be deterioration of the
It
document.
only preserves or saves
The
the
image.
information.
No, it all preserves the information. It doesn't preserve the document, and
Correct.
CPA monies are to be used to preserve documents.
It doesn't, I agree with you.
Very
it's not logically
difficult
done.
definition on modern standards. I'm speaking as a historian.
I have a response. I have a response from the Community Preservation Coalition on this exact same issue. And I'll just read it. When it comes to the historic preservation category, the definitions and restrictions in the CPA legislation make it clear that CPA is meant for the preservation of the physical assets themselves. Digitization alone does nothing to preserve a document or artifact in the attached letter from Department of Revenue. You'll see that it is not allowed as a standard CPA project. CPA was not designed to show digital copies, to allow, I'm sorry, digital copies of objects, while at the same time allowing the object itself to deterioration or to be lost entirely.
All right. I have.
Would you like to come up, Jay?
Stay here.
Mhm.
I just suggest that this application then needs to be in two parts. First part, I'm talking about what the town clerk
Mhm.
probably has to do. The
Mhm.
first part is to preserve the document.
Correct.
And there is money for that. And
Where's the money for that?
if you decide to grant, if the grant gets, there's time enough to have this proposal rewritten. So that
Right,
it
right.
deals with preserving the document.
Correct.
Then the second part, would be up to the town clerk to convince the town administrator that in the coming budget, there be money to digitize.
Yes.
But it's important to preserve the document.
Correct.
Because you can't digitize, the longer we wait.
That's
the
correct.
worse the documents get.
I agree.
And at the same time, and it's not the fault of the town clerk.
No, I didn't say it was.
Issue of this, the documents should have been preserved a long time ago.
Correct.
And again, I was on the committee when we did approve the vault.
Correct.
Notice what happened, the roof leaked.
I know.
Hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
That's another whole issue. So those documents, fortunately, they were able to take a lot of things out, so that's one thing, but it's important to preserve the documents.
I agree.
Right.
And that's what I think we need to get a cost for.
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, what you want to do is have me go out to a different company or even the same
Mhm.
companies and say, okay, can you preserve them? And then do you also have another division, or can you also give us a price on digitizing
Mhm,
them? So like separating out the two.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the
but we don't think of it as a
preservation, yeah, the-
digitization.
the preservation is all we would fund.
I get that.
Okay.
I get that part. Yes.
But it would be useful for you to know going forward with,
Yeah.
putting it into the town budget.
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And I don't even think it would go into this year's.
Yeah.
I
because-
doubt these proposals, these companies They're not in the preservation business. They're in the copying business and digitizing business. So you're probably going to have to go to another vendor to have preservation of the documents. I think that's where you're at. So therefore, in its present form, candidly, we can't approve this.
Well, no, I understand.
When you go out to get the preservation work done, something that is presently that you can't read, can that same company actually restore some of that?
With AI, I don't know.
I mean,
I-
some of that stuff is so faint,
Right,
but
right.
with the right optics,
Mhm. They might,
you know,
yeah, that's their job.
right? So,
That's their,
it's just
that's their forte.
Yeah. Paul, you said,
I just wanted to point, so when you go to the CPA Coalition website and you go through their catalog of past projects from all over the state, you will find a lot of digitization things have been approved. A lot of them are preservation and digitization. Now, we've gone through this also before, like just because it's on the coalition website and a town approved it, it doesn't necessarily mean that
Right.
it was, this comes down to interpretation. So every town makes an interpretation of what they think is appropriate for CPA, and they interpret, they go with that. So I think this committee has some discretion to say, if the preservation piece is part of the digitization, that's a discussion, a policy discussion or decision that this committee can make. But I just think there's some evidence that other towns have rationalized that this was an allowable use through CPA. Every town's different. Every town has their own, they all got a legal opinion, I'm sure. And, so I think it's just something to keep in mind that maybe with a hybrid approach.
Right. And even most of those books that are in our vault downstairs, the archival room that you guys approved 3 years ago, which was a blessing after our vault flooded. Thank you very much. All of those books have been scanned. So they're all digitized. They were preserved and they were all digitized. And then on top of that, the ones that we felt that were going to go because they had been exposed to moisture, we had those also digitized. We did not preserve them because they were bound already. It would have cost so much more to have them unbound and then rebound, and it just didn't make sense. So that was the whole process I was referring to when I said that Melanie and I drove up to the Boston Public Library during COVID with 20 bankers' boxes full of books. Some of them were the old ones that Lillian signed off on that you guys had okayed back in the day. And some of them were the newer ones, like the select board meeting minutes from the last 15 years. They're all available to read. So without that, a lot of history is lost. And, I'm afraid, as far as we've come, it's the one part that never got touched because these were in a different spot when the floods hit,
Yeah.
were the roads. So,
So they weren't affected like some of the other documents.
they were not. They were not because they were in the
Yeah,
town
yeah.
clerk's
Office.
office.
Yeah.
But now we're starting to see roofs leak and water damage, so it's concerning.
That's concerning to me since we've just redid the entire building here.
Yeah,
Well, the library's leaking too, so.
yes.
Mm-mm.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't make us happy
This is.
that
this
we
was-
paid for a
the
vault
library's 26
and it rained
years
in the
old.
vault.
I mean, 10 years old.
Yeah,
That doesn't make us happy either.
That was the old one.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
no,
Yeah.
we're still using it, but
Good.
everything is in plastic totes, so we're safe
Mhm.
with that,
So
so.
I guess what we're saying
Yeah,
is,
so
would you like to come back?
I could come
Fine.
back if you can give me time.
Sure.
And I'm gonna reach out primarily to, I'm gonna keep at the Boston Public Library. I'm gonna keep at CoFile.
Mhm.
Because I think that they really do have a solution. And that might be, and maybe if we piecemeal this out, we may not be able to get it all in the first year.
Mhm.
Right.
Maybe we can get, A through F in
Mhm.
the first year and
Okay.
keep going. Because it's not gonna be cheap, but it.
Yeah, right.
it'll
But I
be-
think, I think we're interested in paying what it would take in order to preserve the documents that you're trying to preserve.
Yeah, and I think that's important too.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
you said, they're only gonna get worse,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so.
yeah.
Thank
okay.
you, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Yeah, yeah.
Time.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Linda.
Hey.
Okay. Oops. Let's see. All righty.
Good example.
My mom was a teacher. She always said, bring props.
Oh, there you go. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to continue on with our application presentations and Lower Cape Housing. So Amanda?
Hello.
Hello.
I love my yearly visit to you guys. Green light means on, right? Green
on.
means go.
Go.
Good evening. I'm Amanda Bebrin. I'm the Director of Housing Advocacy at the Community Development Partnership. The CDP is the Lower and Outer Capes Community Development Corporation. We're a local nonprofit that supports the region with small business technical assistance and all sorts of housing affordability advocacy, property management, the ADU Resource Center, lots and lots of different programs. And all of that is aimed at having a Lower and Outer Cape where people can afford to live, work, and thrive. So tonight, I'm a repeat presenter. You've heard this spiel before, a few of you, but we are requesting $10,000 for year 10 of the Lower Cape Housing Institute for FY27. And I'll outline the program briefly and then let you all ask me questions. I did not bring props, I'm sorry. So the Lower Cape Housing Institute kicked off in 2017 to help build board and committee and municipal staff capacity for towns to work towards their own housing production goals. And so the program provides resources, support, and education to board and committee members and staff. And we go through, soup to nuts. What is affordable housing? How does it benefit our communities? What are strategies to work towards your housing production goals? It's some leadership development so that board and committee members understand what their particular lanes are and how they can help move those things forward as well. Originally, it was a 6-week course. This was before my tenure, but we had an office in Eastham and everybody came to the office. It was once a week for 6 weeks. We had the big honkin' binders. Everything was printed out. And at the end of the 6 weeks, everybody got a certificate of completion. When the pandemic hit, we transitioned to a virtual format, and we also changed the curriculum to be more of a rolling curriculum. And we run mostly with the school calendar, which is also the town meeting sort of calendar that we start in September and we wrap up in about May or June because, our demographic is very busy during peak season, and we want everybody to focus on making their nut for the year. So we have 2 buckets of programming for the Housing Institute. The first is workshops. We're doing 6 workshops this year, so you're getting an extra workshop bang for your buck. Up from 5. And so we start every year with Housing 101, which is designed as an introductory session. We try to catch a lot of new board and committee members as they come on. And then we work through a series of advanced housing and housing related topics. And every year when I design the curriculum with my team, we try to pick topics that are responding to challenges that we're seeing across the region or conversations that we're seeing happening. And we say, oh, it seems like we could use a little bit more education, or like that thing keeps coming up. Let's talk about it more. Like, let's flesh that out a little bit better. So this year, some of our topics are, we did a great session on communications, messaging, and community engagement. That was actually a topic that came from the attendees that they said, we really want to talk more about this. I think the region is really good at doing community engagement and bringing residents in, especially with the acquisition or visioning of new properties, new projects, new ideas. And almost every town in the region has like a complicated multi-phase, multi-year, multi-aspect project. So how do you keep bringing the public along and giving them good information and helping them understand the decisions that have been made and the decisions that still need to be made? So we had a really great session about about that. We did an economic development 101 and talking about how, small businesses and housing have so much overlap, and how can we be thinking about, in addition to housing policy, but what are policies and programs and supports that help our local business communities as well. The CDP has a really long history of small business technical assistance, so we're really happy to bring that lens in as well. We're going to talk about form-based code. We're going to talk about water resources. We're going to talk about exit planning, and again, how that interacts with housing and our local communities' ability to sort of be sustainable and vibrant now and in the future. So that's one bucket. All of our workshops are recorded and are on our YouTube channel. So even if you can't attend, they're all via Zoom. We record them. If you can't attend, people send me emails and say, I'm really interested in this. I'm unable to make it at that time. I send out the recording and the slide decks and speaker contact information out to everyone after the fact. So, you're making dinner and you want to put on the YouTube in the background and listen and follow along. We want to make sure that the information gets to people in any way that we can get it to them. So the workshops are one bucket. And then the second bucket is peer groups. We do peer group quarterly. We actually have one coming up next week, a week from today, from 3 to 4:30. These are also virtual, and it is the whole region, so the whole Lower and Outer Cape. We try to have at least one representative from each town. We talk about, this time around, it'll be fall town meeting outcomes for the towns that had fall town meetings. In the spring, it's spring town meeting outcomes. We try to pay attention and update people about what's happening at the state level. So we've spent a lot of time talking about what's been going on with the Affordable Homes Act and the Seasonal Communities designation, as there's news about that. And then we let the towns share their housing updates. We don't record these, but we do send out notes after the facts, and I'm the factotum. And it's like, 5, 6, 7 pages of single spaced, bulleted lists of what the entire region is working on. And, I'm sure Paul can jump in that housing can be a very challenging thing to work on day in and day out. And so it's a nice opportunity for board and committee members and staff to be able to build relationships across town lines, beg, borrow, and steal good ideas so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and sort of be fortified by just the volume of really everything that is being done across the region, as well as sort of measuring what still needs to be done. So those are the two sort of big pieces of the programming. Some of the other things that the program touches, we have a monthly newsletter that goes out the third week of each month. It's called Under One Roof. We have, I think, about 850 subscribers from across the region, and that also covers town updates and highlights upcoming programming opportunities from across the department, and that includes our first-time homebuyer and ADU Resource Center offerings as well. As I mentioned, the sort of legislative and advocacy piece, we do follow what's happening with the seasonal communities designation. We're hoping that the state will release those final regulations by the end of the year, and we're hoping to be in a position to help towns think through what that implementation looks like and what those questions are. My team also provides technical assistance. So if people have questions about housing, processes, local government, research, data, where to find research, pretty much anything that they're not sure where to turn, they come to me and say, hey, I have this question about XYZ. What can you tell me about it? Can you connect me with a resource? And I either know the answer or point them in the right direction or reach out to one of our local or state level partners and say, hey, what can we tell this person about this particular thing? So that TA piece is not insignificant, and it is an important one as well. We do ask for that $10,000 from each of the towns in the Lower and Outer Cape. All of the CPCs and town meetings have been really, really supportive of that. And we're really grateful for that because it makes a difference for us to be able to continue to provide the programming. As I said at the top, next year is going to be our 10th year of the program, which is like a mind-blowing benchmark. And I'm sure we'll also think about, what do we really like about the program? Is there anything that we'd like to change? Is there anything that we'd like to add? And how do we sort of want to commemorate 10 years worth of a really impactful program for the region? So I'll leave it there. If you have any questions for me, I will do my very best to answer them. And thank you for giving me the time tonight.
Thank you.
I have some questions on the last page of your application. You have the cost for fiscal year 2026 budget. This should be the fiscal year cost for fiscal year 27.
So we budget year to year, so we don't have an FY27 budget yet because we're not there yet. So this is, our costs don't change too much year over year. So this is an idea of what the budgets look like year to year. Obviously, as we have more information, we can send it out to you, but I can't give you what we haven't done yet. We do budgeting over the winter.
So was this your original budget for, I didn't look up at my documents. Is this the budget for 26?
This says a fiscal year 26 budget.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. And how many other towns apart from Eastham have you asked for monies for this project?
We ask for $10,000 from all 8 of
All
the
8?
Lower, Lower and Outer Cape towns, and all 8 have been, since 2017, have provided funding. That number has gone up over the years to sort of adjust for the cost of everything going up. But the 10,000 is the going rate for what we have been asking for the last.
Yeah, because
couple
I
of
think
years.
a couple years ago it was 7,005.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Are there any questions from folks here or Joanna?
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Completion of the home ownership, prospective home ownership, that used to be a help in applying for affordable housing. Is it still used like that?
So the homeownership education program isn't under the Housing Institute, but is still under my department, so I supervise it. There are some mortgage products that do require you to take a first-time home buyer class. It depends on the situation. Most of our affordable housing throughout the region is permanent rentals and not home ownership, so it's sort of two different things. But we also sort of rethought about the program in terms of being preparation to get to being a homeowner, because we know that it's a long runway for people to be able to compete in the market. So even if people are 2 or 3 years out, we encourage them to still come in and start thinking about what's the documentation that they need, getting on top of their credit, figuring out their budget, things like that. So it's useful for lots of different things.
What percentage of your target audience participates in your workshops and seminars and things?
That is a great question. My rough math is that I think probably there's about 1,600 people across the region. There's a lot of boards and committees for all 8 towns. Our total attendance right now is coming up on 500 people. That's unique attendees across the entirety of the program. Many of those people attend lots and lots of sessions. So getting people to attend is a perennial challenge, which is why we record the workshops and make them available via YouTube. I am always open to ideas of how to get more people to attend. I do a fair amount of trying to stay on top of who are new board and committee members, especially. I have staff that helps identify and reach out to those people.
Any other questions?
I just have one. Obviously, your budget is 150 and you're getting 80,000. Where does the rest of it come from?
We are pretty dogged in pursuing grant opportunities of all different sorts. We used to have some earmark funding from the state government. We have a new state rep, and there's like different rules about how much they can ask for. But as an organization, we have really good financial health, and we pursue all. I go and do this for all sorts of.
anywhere you can.
We get it anywhere we can is
I
the
got it.
answer.
Don't you
We
get some for the
fundraise.
license plates?
We get, yes, thank you. We do get some, why don't you come sit over here? You had some of that. Yes, we do get some funding from the license plates that actually does support this particular program. We fundraise, we have an annual fundraiser that helps to support all of our programming. We're a nonprofit. We get money from wherever is willing to give us money.
I have no more questions.
Yeah, so I just have a question, and you mentioned it, you're saying that this is the 10th year.
FY27.
Right, it's the 10th year.
The 10th
And,
anniversary.
and I don't know exactly how much you've spent over the 10 years for these programs, but if you were to take the 154 times 10, that's 154,000. What, do you really have ideas or thoughts going forward as to whether it's are you thinking that this will just keep going like this because new members in different towns, or are you thinking of changing it in some way after 10 years? Or?
At this point, I honestly don't know. My team has not had that conversation. I think we're excited that to hit the benchmark of it being in existence for a decade. I do think there will always be tremendous value in offering education and sort of a
Mhm.
resource.
Mhm.
You know, I'm a board and committee member myself, and nobody sort of wants to put their hand in the air and go, yeah, I have no idea about any of this. You know, so we try to make it so that like it's here, there are resources that you can take advantage of. But do we tweak the format? Do we do
mhm.
more frequent but shorter sessions? Do we, you know, do more hybrid and some things are just in person and some things remain on Zoom? Those things we have not decided. We really do rely on participant feedback. So if you have ideas, please email me. That's really the best way that I can go about figuring out what it's going to look like. And if we decide that we and our participants think that it's working well, then we could hold the line. You know, the curriculum does evolve. The sorts of topics that we are talking about now are not necessarily exactly the same content that we were doing 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
what you started at the beginning. Yeah. And any other questions from the committee? Do I have a motion to approve the $10,000 for the Lower Cape Housing Institute for fiscal year 27?
So moved.
Second.
So you, Dave, and then Bob?
Oh, Bob.
Who was first and who was second?
I was-
Oh, Bob was first and Dave is second?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't want to take your thunder.
Any more of the discussion? All in favor?
I,
Joanna, at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. 7, 0 on 12/3/25.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Okay, final,
final one.
Bob?
No.
Hello. You know everybody here, I think.
Yeah.
Bob,
those
Bob
people.
Arnett?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yes,
it was just about 10 years ago.
I
hard to
remember.
believe, That we successfully sought support from the town for what turned out to be a very extensive renovation and restoration of the chapel in the Pines. Began trying to fix a hole in the roof and ended up with a whole lot more, which has really made the building much more valuable and useful to the whole community. The one thing we did not do is paint the building. And the building never really has been painted. It's patchwork quilts of various people came in and donated time. After the shingles are been replaced, there are newer dipped yellow shingles that we used on the north side of the building. And it's kind of a mess. So taking on the whole project, we see this as the final phase of this restoration. I think the last time there was any kind of extensive painting was after a movie that Norman Mailer had made using the building. And they repainted the chapel white, sprayed it with coffee to make it look old. And assured us that they were going to repaint it after the movie. And they instead gave us a check, said, here, you know, get it repainted. So part of the building, just the south side of the building that was in the movie was repainted. That's an example of kind of the real approach that we have. We did in the 1980s have all of the stained glass windows rebuilt, which was really important at the time. They need some maintenance, but the basic structure of the windows are good. But the windows on the east side have never really had that treatment. And they're very old windows. We don't really want to replace them with anything newer. We want to try to maintain the old look of the building. So we decided that we would seek additional funding from the Community Preservation Committee to complete this project. I think once it's done, I don't really see the need to come back really to do anything with that building. It's, you know, I mean, we will maintain it after that, but it really needs to kind of have a uniform painting treatment that is going to
also encapsulate the lead paint that we have on that building. So we understand that we're able to do a minimal amount of scraping and sanding as long as we fully cover the remaining paint that's there. So that was one of the concerns we had back in 2020, before COVID hit. What are we going to do about the painting? And the lead was more of an issue then, it seems to me. So that brings us to where we are now. I know we're requesting 25,000, so I can explain where that figure comes from. The two estimates that we have, one from Stewart's, I think was 18,400. I just got one today that was 17,000. The person who did the interior of the chapel, who did a beautiful job painting the interior, we tried to get her to bid, and she has not submitted a bid, but she estimated 25 to 30,000. But she generally charges more for the work, but the work that she does is really, really fine. So Stewart's painting, he claims he's the only lead certified painter on the Cape, and I don't know if that's true or not. But we need to have a lead certified painter work on this building. Comes down to. So that's where we kind of ended up at 25. I'm sure it'll be less than that. And of course, any money would be returned to the town. But we wanted to at least have enough money to sort of get most of this work done. So you may wonder, what does Nauset Fellowship do? To the building? Well, first of all, the first go around, we raised almost $100,000 to go along with the $300,000 in the Community Preservation Committee, which shows you that there is a great deal of support for this project, of this building, preserving this building. And I think it speaks to how the town feels about this building. This building, of course, is used by the Nauset Fellowship, mostly by other groups in town, actually. But this building is so visible and noticed by so many people who drive past, and it becomes a real fixture of the town. It's right next to the library. It's important that it look good because you can really see it from that. And I don't know how many of you actually have been to the chapel inside. I know you have, but people who walk in will say to us inevitably, wow, what a beautiful building. It's a credit to the town, and it's something that people really do appreciate. So I think we've all done well in working together to preserve this piece of Eastham history. But what is the fellowship doing with its money? Well, we had some raccoons move into our crawl space last winter, which explained why our gas bill tripled.
Oh, no.
We finally got our.
Did they eat the
Yeah,
gas?
they actually built nests in the vent pipe, so we had all of that fixed. We kind of raccoon-proofed the foundation. We have purchased energy efficient shades for the main room, which conserves energy. And we also got done insulating the entire building, the walls and the ceiling, thanks to a Mass Save grant. We put in about 5,000, Mass Save put in the rest, about 20,000 plus. So the building's completely insulated now too. So that's pretty much a lot of the major work we have done, but we still do that kind of work. We're going to be doing landscaping and cutting down some trees and moving things around, but that's what we do of our own expense. The painting was kind of a separate issue that we can't really take on, either physically ourselves or financially. It would be a burden for the church, which has 29 official members right now. So with all that said, I know there is an issue regarding maintenance versus restoration. And I know that's the main
That's
issue.
coming, because that was my question.
What I'm
always-
trying to tell you is we have never really maintained the painting. It's always been this, if you go down and look at the building, you see there's all kinds of different volunteers that painted it.
You know, we have a whole new set of shingles that have never been maintained that are part of it. So it's not a case of like, we had the building painted at one time and now we're coming back to repaint it. This is like starting from a point where we want to completely do a good paint job on the exterior of the building. And after that, it will be maintained.
Well, my question is painting a building maintenance or is it historic preservation? As far as CPC is concerned. I mean, that's the, we might as well ask the question because that's on my mind.
Maintenance is always an
We're not allowed
issue.
technically to do fund maintenance. So my question, I guess I'll direct it to Paul if you know the answer, but the bottom line is I personally don't know whether this could qualify.
I think from one perspective, if you look at maintenance as something that you do in order to protect something else that's inside, you know, that if you didn't do it, other
Oh,
things,
something would happen.
something would happen and they would fall apart and you'd have a more of a problem than you have now. That's
I see what you're saying.
sometimes people look at it that way. I'm not saying I
No,
agree or disagree. I'm
just-
just telling you that that's,
I'm posing the question.
yeah, it's a
because
good question.
Because I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Paul, do you have a?
Well, I mean, I'm not the final word on any of
Okay.
it, but I would say that similar to my earlier comments, when you go through the CPA database, all the different towns, there's certainly projects that have been funded to repaint exterior, but I think it kind of goes to the condition of the building. So
Mhm.
it's based on what I'm hearing, you know, it hasn't been maintained. to the
hasn't
point. So
been
if it doesn't
maintained.
get repainted, it's gonna deteriorate to, you know, structural.
Other
Oh.
problems, if you don't
Right.
maintain it, other problems will occur.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, likewise with windows, I mean,
Mm.
you could say, you know, replacing a window that needs replacing is maintenance, but when you are trying to, you know, when it's packaged as part of you're refurbishing, you're trying to
Mhm,
bring back things. So I mean, it's just a matter of degrees of like,
Mhm.
of what it is, it's doing. And I will say, again, just because it's on the database
Oh, yeah.
doesn't mean, you know, every town makes their own decision about what
Decisions.
they feel can qualify, and this committee can certainly do that. You know, it's, and then it's really falls to if someone has an issue with that, then we seek legal advice, but this committee's, you know, it has discretion to say, we feel this falls within, and only bring out other towns have made similar decisions.
Why isn't it preservation? I don't quite understand. I can see,
I'm
You-
not saying it isn't,
well, let's.
but I am saying it's maintenance.
Okay, but let's focus on the preservation because that's what he's applied for.
Yes,
Forget about the fact that it's maintenance.
correct. And,
So-
and there could be a very good argument as I'm open to listen to, obviously. And that's why I asked the question. Can it qualify as preservation? Even though it's technically maintenance?
Why are you saying that though? He's asked for preservation and
No,
that's what we're talking about.
I agree with you. No, I agree that I'm sorry, let's let Joanne. Joanne's been,
Joanna?
Joanne.
Joanne?
Yeah, no,
We
when I,
we see your yellow hand up there.
can you hear me?
Not exactly, at least I can't.
You can't hear it? Okay.
Not
Can you
really.
turn your volume up?
Yeah, turn the volume up.
My volume is
Oh,
up.
that-
Can you hear me?
That's better, that's better, thank you.
Okay, maybe I have to get closer to my thing. So when I first looked at this, I thought, oh, this is maintenance, you know, pressure washing. But then actually hearing Bob and looking more carefully, it wasn't, it is part, I feel comfortable that it is part of the restoration that has taken place. It's sort of the final piece of that, and covering over old lead paint that's in parts is crucial. And I don't see that as, I think I'm comfortable with being preservation of that structure. I would feel uncomfortable if 5 years from now, the chapel came back saying, oh, it's peeling off of here, we need to repaint it. That's maintenance. The money has to come from somewhere else, but I'm comfortable with this as preservation
And to tag on top of that, Dan, does it change the argument in your mind if we're focused on the mitigation of the lead issue in conjunction with the painting and sealing of the outside of the structure?
That's a good argument.
Mhm.
That's a good argument. I would agree that lead paint mitigation, you know, the funny thing is, lead paint isn't used anymore. That is a historic application that isn't used anymore, and I don't want to see it and I don't want to have it, but technically, you know, if you went down the letter of the law and you wanted to hold historic preservation, should it be painted in lead paint? The answer is no. But in historic preservation, the answer would be yes, because that's what was there. And that's what it was done originally. It's complicated. It's a complicated issue. I haven't made up my mind one way or another. I just wanted to expose the issue. That's all.
It's a good it's a good
Because
question.
we're responsible to expose the issue. So the question is, as board members, and it is a board member decision, you know, a vote, do we feel comfortable as a board that this is historic preservation?
I would make the argument that by adding the lead mitigation as part of this project, that you are preserving the access to the facility in a safer manner than it is if the lead paint was just left there.
And,
That would be the way I would
Yeah.
make that argument.
and given the age of the building, if you've got to keep the envelope secure and you're dealing with windows that aren't secure, that needs to be,
And they have to be
Preserve.
restored carefully. We can't just buy
Mhm.
this and
Yeah.
windows.
Right, and stick them in.
These are windows we don't want to
To
alter.
lose.
no, you
So
can't.
they really have to be rebuilt and you can't easily buy them. So that's another aspect of this project that, you know.
So I guess my question would be, with the painting, do you feel that the building will be totally encapsulated and protected from the weather?
Yes.
Are you surprised that there's only, given the fact that the Cape is old, that there's only one person that you found that was?
Well, that's what he claimed.
Oh.
I'm not
That's
making a
marketing.
difference. That's what he told me. That may or may not be true, but at least his bid was the most complete and the most specific, you know, detailed.
Mhm,
And he seemed to be aware of of many of the issues.
mhm,
I mean, I understand the maintenance thing. If we had been maintaining it
mhm.
since 1979, when we purchased the building, that would be one thing, but it really has not been, the exterior really has not been maintained other than patching up,
Mhm.
fixing areas.
As needed.
Yeah, and volunteers basically doing that work. Yeah, so.
I see it as a continuation of the restoration where that wasn't done. And especially with the windows, I think it's very important.
Mhm.
And then as far as the lead mitigation, I mean, do it. I mean, he says it, I'm sure there's other people out there, but you know, your other estimate is right close to his too. So I think it's probably pretty close on the money.
Yeah.
I mean, painting is a lot more expensive than I used to think it
Well,
was.
when we were thinking about this last summer, we had no idea about inflation or tariffs or any, what the impact could be on paint or
Mhm.
whatever, but you know, so that's why I'm saying that I'm sure it will not be as
Mhm.
much as 25,000.
And I think you said in there that you would be offering 20% of the funding
We can do that, yeah.
as far as helping out with the
Yeah,
cost.
if the committee would like us to match something, now that we have a better idea of what the cost is, so
Mhm.
it would be probably considerably less than 25.
So what is the amount that you're actually asking for?
25,
20, you're keeping it at
because
25?
we really don't know.
Right, okay.
More raccoons are moving in.
Right.
But you do have a quote from Stewart's.
Yes, and we
Which
have
is a,
one.
which is a valid contractor you're
Yeah.
happy with.
Mm.
So my question to you, the board, is if he's got a valid quote at 18.4, if we gave him $20,000, he has more than his firm quote. And if he went to 25, he's willing to say that they'll come up with the
Mhm,
money. So the
mhm.
question is, why would we do 25 versus 20?
That include the windows?
I would say because he needs to get another quote or two from a lead certified painter. If he's got only one, you need 2 or 3 quotes to make it.
Well, you had some, you said you had some other quotes.
But they weren't.
They were higher.
But they weren't lead
They didn't
You-
brag
you-
on
Well, I
it.
don't know
We
for
we
sure.
don't know. for
Oh,
sure.
oh.
There's another painter from Wellfleet who submitted a bid, and I don't know if he is officially lead certified.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
The other company
you
is
need that?
Lamy's Painting.
I said, do you need that?
What did you say, Dave?
Well, I'm questioning, do you need somebody that it has a lead certification?
I would think so.
This is a
It's the
public.
right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I'm just asking a
Probably
question. I don't know.
yeah.
Well, the key here is he's not going to remove the lead.
No, he's gonna,
He's going to cover it and encapsulate it.
right.
In a heating system, they do the same thing. If there's asbestos covering on a pipe, they cover the covering.
Right.
They don't take the asbestos covering away, they encapsulate it in plastic or something.
Yeah.
And because this is, used by the public quite a bit,
Mhm.
it really.
I think it makes sense. I'm.
But I personally, would get a list of lead certified.
Yeah.
Approved painters and, go from there.
I agree. I always think you should get good 3 estimates.
Mhm.
Well, we're trying for the third one, but she never
What
came through.
question on the windows?
Yeah.
The painters can restore them, or do they have to go out and be restored?
The painters claim they can restore them. I think they can. I mean, they're not rotted beyond,
Oh, okay. that was-
use. I have contacted somebody in South Orleans who does window
Right, I was gonna
restoration.
mention that,
They
yeah.
have
Yeah.
never gotten back to
Mm.
me. I have a feeling they're kind of overwhelmed with the amount of work that has to be done.
I think the difference between 20, I think I'm be more comfortable with the 25 and strive to get some of that back rather than coming up short if something happened. It's
Right.
only
Okay.
1,000.
I mean,
But-
can't we always put in a caveat that they will contribute 20%
20%.
We
of
can-
whatever
We can do
the
whatever we
cost
want.
is, or 10%?
We're issuing the grant. We can make any condition we want.
Mhm,
That's what we did with the original grant, which was
Yeah.
300,000.
mhm,
And I think we decided to conduct a direct mail appeal
mhm.
to a lot of the coffee house patrons, a lot of the people who'd been to the church. And we were able to get $90,000 for that.
Mhm.
But that was a much bigger.
Bigger project.
big, Complicated project.
Yeah, didn't we up the dollar amount so that you could put in that little decorative
Yes,
things on the.
Yeah, which took us
On
forever.
the peak.
we did.
It's
She's never seen on any other building anywhere.
It looks great.
Paul, can I ask you one question? Do we have to send this by the town attorney? Or are we in position to be able to approve it the way it is?
No, if the board makes, you can
Okay.
approve it if you decide.
So back to the final decision here. What a dollar amount, what are people's thoughts on the proposal as far as what we'll say as far as the dollar amount is concerned? What are people's thoughts?
Leave it.
Mark?
I listen to the other people think, leave it not to exceed 25,000.
Mhm,
He has to get 3 bids,
mhm.
and then,
And fund 20% of the final cost?
yeah,
Mhm,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
so it'll
yeah,
probably come in, hopefully lower, but.
yeah.
You never know,
Yeah, I think that.
but because this will not be done until, right,
Mhm.
the summer at the earliest,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
can go well. Yeah.
What was the color? I know it was used by Edward Hopper.
That's the
What wa-
yellow.
was the yellow?
That's the
I've
only
seen it,
color-
but I can't remember.
That's the only proof we have.
Oh, really?
that
The
building is
painting?
Yellow, because all the older photographs are black and white.
Oh, black. Oh, no, okay.
No.
No color shown.
Well, when I first moved here, which was 72, the building was essentially abandoned.
Mm.
Because the congregation had died
Mm.
off. First Parish Church in Brewster had taken title to the building. Unitarian Association gave them the title. The building, as I remember it then, was in really sad shape.
Mm.
Paint peeling, and it's hard to tell what color it was. So that was the turning point. If we hadn't moved from
Mm.
1979 and formed the Nauset Fellowship and bought the building, it would have continued to deteriorate, or probably would be someone's home.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
A
There were
home.
7 people bidding for the building
Hmm.
along with us.
Hmm.
But we were the low bidder, and
Mm,
Mr. Church felt they had to us, but we had several people who were willing to
Mm.
turn it into.
Interesting. Housing.
Which would have been lost. historically.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. So I think we, if I'm correct, I think we have a motion on the table to,
Well, I'll make one because I want to add, we don't have one yet, but now we have one. I will make a motion that we approve the application for Chapel and Pines in the amount of $25,000, subject to the following conditions. Number one, that a lead certified painter will be used to encapsulate and to ensure. Actually, do we want to have him write a letter saying that he ensures the encapsulation and encapsulation of it? Or do we care?
No.
Okay, they'll do it. All right, so the condition number one is that the project will include encapsulating the lead paint, the existing lead paint on the structure. And number two, that the applicant will provide 20% of the funding of the project. Is that good?
we're saying up to 25%?
No,
Or
no, we're saying 25,000.
25%.
No, 25,000 and 20% of the
Yeah, right.
cost of the project,
Right, yeah,
correct?
yeah, correct.
Correct?
We can do that.
You can live with
Can
it.
do that?
Okay,
And it's not the finance.
so that's my motion.
Yeah,
I'll second
okay,
that.
Okay.
okay. So that's Dan and Dave. Is there any further discussion on this project? All in favor of this project?
Aye.
7-0. On 12/3/25.
Well, thank you very
Very
much.
good.
And thanks for all your work.
Good
over
luck.
Years in helping people.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Bob.
you.
How many members do you have? 20?
We're 29, but we have a lot of visitors.
Oh, yes.
Okay, folks. Let's
I am
see
running-
here. I'm going back to the original agenda.
I have to run. Is that
You have to
okay?
run.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm supposed to meet somebody at 6:30.
We have the minutes. I'm looking at the agenda, folks, and we have item number 2 is to approve the minutes of November 5th, 2025. And I have Elaine was absent, so, and she's absent again, so. Yeah, Eileen, Eileen and Elaine, yeah. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 5th, 2025?
Have a
Joe-
correction.
Oh, Joanna?
Yeah, under review, the number 3, the review of the funding, part B, little I, it was I who made that comment, Joanna, not Janet. And the same goes for two little I's. Joanna made those 2 remarks on the projects, not Janet.
Okay,
They would
so
get the
BI is changed from Janet Benjamins to Joanna Buffington.
right, and then
And B2 has been changed from Janet Benjamins to Joanna Buffington.
thanks.
Okay,
Otherwise, they look fine.
okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 5th, 2025 as amended?
I'll move because I'm still
Second.
here
Okay, let me see.
since we're
That's
voting.
Dan.
Say,
And who's, Dave?
Dave.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6-0?
Great.
Right, 6-0. Okay. We're on to item number 3 of the agenda, review CPA financials. And let me get my stuff out here. Oh, that's what I want. Okay, I'm looking first at the CPA cash balance. Thank you, Tina, for sending these out. And I don't have any comments on the CPA cash balance. I other than, Tina, on the tax collections, since the taxes were due on November 1st, we're showing 512,000, so I'm assuming that's because people paid their taxes before November 1st?
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm,
There
okay.
was some taxes, like 15,000 from the prior year.
Right.
But most of this.
But the rest is for fiscal year 27.
Yes,
26, yeah. Okay,
26.
right, 26, yeah. I don't have any other questions on the CPA cash balance. Does anybody else? I'm looking at the project list. Tina, on the Cape Housing Institute, where is the third item down, administrative Field of Dreams, Cape Housing Institute, should that be fiscal year 26 with the 10,000 that's still remaining?
It should be.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
I can change that.
Yeah, okay. I don't have any other questions on here. And thank you again for showing at the bottom, the Wiley Parks, the 8,009 and the Eastham Elementary School playground for the 19,584. Doing that is very helpful, I think. Okay, I have one other comment. Let me see, is that on the CPA trust fund distribution? I think everybody received the information on that. And we are receiving this year, according to the state, $253,000 for Eastham. Did everybody get we've sent all of your names to the coalition, so you should be getting all of this information. I just want to make sure you're receiving it.
I haven't,
You haven't received it?
but I didn't get any of the financial information either.
Oh. I did see that your name, I did send something to you a couple weeks ago
I think I
where,
got that.
where your name had been not listed on the,
I did get that.
oh, you got that? Okay, I apologize for that.
Well,
Um,
I can double check your email address. You need, and I can give you a copy so you can.
oh, yeah. Tina, I have a question. As we're seeing, the tax, the state reimbursement is the 253,384.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
and when we did all of our calculations for this coming fiscal year, we thought that the state tax matching fund would be much lower because of information
Yes.
that we received from the state, and we used 10% when we did our calculations. We used
Yes.
10%. And that came to 114,637 for our calculations. Given the fact that what we've ended up receiving, which is almost, well, just about double what we had anticipated, it's my understanding that given that we have to reallocate the difference to the 10%, 30%, et cetera, or because of the large difference between what we calculated and what the state's giving us.
I don't think so, Mary. That's not how I understand it. Because this is already a done deal. We've already went to town meeting. We all did that. We can't go and readjust the 10% based on how the state match came in. If it's gravy money, we get to keep it, but I can't adjust the percentages that were already voted and approved at town meeting. If you remember last year, we were concerned about that, and I talked to Rich about how we could, this coming year, adjust to make up for the difference. But I can't change it mid-year. I can't change those reserves.
Okay, I have some information from an old webinar that I attended that has some different information. So I think what I'd like to do is talk to you about it apart from this meeting, just to show you what I have and to discuss it further. Have you ever heard about reallocating anything as a result of the large discrepancy between what we allocated and what the state actually ends up giving us?
No, but I agree with Tina, like, we can't do it retro. Anything that has to be reallocated has to be done at town meeting.
Yeah, I know
Might
it's a
be-
town meeting. What we ended up doing was a town meeting.
But I think what Tina was saying, going forward, if we need to go back and say retroactively add back.
Oh,
Like next, like
so-
at this May, town meeting, if we figure out we need to make it balance out.
Okay, so maybe we could put in, when we do the town meeting information for this coming May, we could add to the reserve funds, the amount that they would have gotten with the new,
Yeah, if
with
we,
the new
if we
tax
determine that, that
match.
has, that, if that, sorry, I can't talk. If we
Mm.
determine that that needs to be done
Okay,
to make it legit,
Okay.
but yeah, we can never go back.
yeah,
make-
I know we can't go back. I was just, yeah.
But that's always, I mean, because we're always estimating
Oh, I know we are,
before we
And-
know the real number, and then the town meeting
yeah.
vote happens and all the numbers.
yeah.
locked in.
Yeah, and I think based on what I've looked at in general, our calculations have been close enough to what we've ended up getting in matching funds to not be a problem. But this one was a big difference between the 253 that we are getting and the 114, 114 that we ended up calculating. Are there any other questions on the financials or the trust fund information? Okay. Let me look at the schedule here. Let me see. Final reports. We have 2 final reports. We have one for the, oh, that's not what I want. We have one for the Minister Schoolhouse Pond. I think that's 62. Let me pull it up. Here we are. We have a final report from the Minister Schoolhouse Pond Preservation. And that was originally 135,000 was the funding. And there's a balance of 62,137, 50 cents. Yeah,
Why so much?
Yeah.
I think because they anticipated spending more than they had thought it was going to cost. But the thing is, I think what happened is that they have found that they're going to have to go back and redo it again. Joanna, do you know the rationale for the large fund balance?
No, well, it's always, they want to have enough to pay for it, and it probably, you'd have to check with Hillary, probably took less time to do that aeration stuff than they anticipated. So that's the savings. But you don't want to run out of money before it's done. So this is not too bad, but you have to check with her for sure.
I think we're going to get another request, not this year, but another request where these monies will be used again.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, they'll resubmit a new application.
right.
And
Right.
it's a thing coming up with, well, we'll have the alum discussion in January. But yeah, it'll be interesting to hear what different mechanisms for different ponds and how we can get ahead of this, but with sewering around these ponds, but that's another issue.
Mhm. Do I have a motion to, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to approve the final report for the Minister Schoolhouse Pond Preservation with a balance of 62,137.50, which will go back into the reserves? Yeah. Let me see, that's Mark. Do I have a second? Bob? All in favor of approving the final report for the Minister Schoolhouse Pond Preservation? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Joanna, 6, 0. And I have one other final report, and that is for the schoolhouse addition, schoolhouse restoration. And the original funding was 447,200. And we are receiving 61,603 back. Do I have any questions on the final report for the schoolhouse? Do I have a motion to approve the final report for the schoolhouse.
Make a motion.
Mark,
I'll second.
Dave?
Yeah.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 0. Thank you. Okay, I just want you to know we are not meeting on the 17th of December. Our next meeting is January 7th, at which time we will be discussing the other 3 submissions that we've received. Do I have any other items of discussion that need to be discussed before we adjourn? The other thing I want to say, I feel like I'm being echoed.
There's not a
I
meeting.
don't know. I mentioned at our last meeting that I would want to have the Affordable Housing Trust to attend one of our meetings to discuss the surcharge and the WIF, the wastewater infrastructure investment fund, coming from the 3% surcharge of our taxes. And I did attend one of their most recent meetings, and they want to discuss it further at their next meeting with Rich. And that's the plan. So I think that meeting is the December 11th. So that hopefully they will be coming to our meeting on January 7th to give their thoughts on the project. Anything else that needs to be discussed for the next meeting or of any other kind? Do I have a motion to adjourn? So that's Eileen and Dave. All in favor of adjourning? 6-0. Let me see, that was Eileen, and then you were second. Very good. Again, our next meeting is not until January 7th. So everybody have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you.